Caught in a turmoil of criticism after criticizing Representative Paul Ryan's budget proposal on Meet the Press last Sunday, Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich this week called to apologize to Ryan after apologizing to several other people along the way. Gingrich spokesman Rick Tyler said his boss apologized for his inartful way of expressing his point. Earlier in the week, Gingrich had described his language on Meet the Press, where he appeared to call Ryan's plan right-wing social engineering as compared to the Obama administration's medical care plan, left-wing social engineering. He described his language as inelegant. Inelegant. You know, not fit for nighttime, maybe for 5 o'clock, maybe for cocktail. The former speaker said it was a mistake to make the voucher system advocated by Ryan to replace Medicare mandatory and called it politically undoable. He set off a storm of criticism that continued unabated for the next 48 hours. The criticism, which ranged from the Wall Street Journal to the National Review, you know, the left-wing media, threatened to break Gingrich's not yet one-week-old campaign off track just as it was getting started. The damage was exacerbated by the fact that even as he reiterated he would repeal the Obama health care plan, Gingrich maintained Ryan's budget was too politically toxic to pass into law. Tyler, the spokesman, said Gingrich wasn't backing off that criticism, but said the candidate wanted to work with Ryan to devise a plan that would be popular with the public. The former congressman, that is to say Gingrich, made the call while in Minneapolis for an event. He said the two men had exchanged emails beforehand. I hope that's all they exchanged. I don't think there are any hard feelings between them, said the spokesperson. The apologies of the week, ladies and gentlemen, a copyrighted feature of this broadcast. And given the spate of apologizing Newt did, there's probably some strategizing going on in a conference call, maybe this very day.
Now joining your conference call,
Newt Gingrich.
Mr. Speaker.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I was rereading Deming and Drucker. Some transformative insights on an organization in flux, which I guess is what we are.
Mr. Speaker, I think what's in flux are your chances to survive another month in this campaign, to be frank. I think the organization's fine.
Mark, this is a bizarre and obscene observation. It calls into question your very commitment to principles of free market Americanism and revives my old doubts about you as an unreconstructed Trotskyist with a Euro-socialist worldview.
Sir, I don't need to remind you. We met when I was president of the Idaho Young Republicans.
I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I'm trying to amp up my hostility in the face of gotcha questioning. I think it just got misdirected at one of my trusted advisors.
Thanks.
This is exactly what Toffler warns against.
Sir, I've got to answer about 500 press inquiries in the next half hour, all of them about the supposed doomed nature of the candidacy. Maybe we can delay the futurist seminar until we're actually in the future.
Sir, maybe I can cut through here with a more pragmatic question. Mm-hmm. Do we have any more apologies we need to make, or are we going to make week 2 less, I don't know, apologetic? Well, to me personally, I think once you apologize to Congressman Ryan, you've kind of maxed out on public expressions of sorrow. I mean, I think any more of this would, start to creep people out, especially independent voters who are notoriously creep-outable.
It's interesting because the old Protestant me, I think, would have concurred with you, Mark. But what I think Calissa and Father Bob have both taught me is that the very voters who have doubts about my temperament are those most profoundly moved by public acts of contrition.
Well, it is the best possible way to balance an increase in hostility towards the media, if that's where you're going with that. I mean, you attack David Gregory and then you apologize him or to his audience or to whomever. The red meat people are happy and the white meat with no sauce people are happy too.
Yeah, I just think, and I know this is getting into your area, Paulette, i.e. messaging, but strategically, I think we risk that the message people get from this campaign is not a robust attack on the Obama presidency, but just, I'm sorry.
Look, I don't think any of us envisioned this as a strategic option at the start of the campaign way back last month. But the essence of American exceptionalism is a pragmatic streak interlaced with a rock-solid commitment to a set of philosophical values.
And?
No, I just wanted to get that down the way I'm going to say it when I go on with Rush.
Are you apologizing to Rush? If so, I've got to let Drudge know. That's a guaranteed siren.
You know, I'm going to be the Turk in the punch bowl on this, folks. I think in a campaign that's based on repositioning a familiar face, nothing says new Newt better than a fusillade of apologetics. The old Newt never apologized now, did he?
Well, I think, Phil, that's a very, very safe assumption. I think you could argue that not apologizing ever was one of the signature characteristics of the old Newt.
Yeah, you know, I suppose what I'm saying is I know the Newt persona has already executed maybe a 120-degree turn. Do we really want to do a full 180? Maybe, you know, for the toughness, we want to...
Well, look, Mark, the hostile rhetoric still takes care of that, doesn't it? I mean, I'm still planning to accuse Obama of an Indonesian Muslim post-Dutch occupation worldview.
Are we walking back post-colonial Kenyan worldview? Because I've got to brief some people.
No. I think just broadening the indictment to include the parent he actually lived with, just to put it on an even stronger basis of partial fact. But I have to say, folks, I'm starting to like apologizing. You know, I think the people who think this hurt our campaign are dead wrong. I think we found my sweet spot, and we weren't even looking.
Well, you're not going to go looking for things to apologize for, are you? Because if so, I've got a ton of material.
You know, I'm going to suggest that we declare victory on the apology front and move on for now.
All right, but I do think the Speaker could still afford to apologize to David Gregory for saying those softball questions on Meet the Press were actually meatballs, but all right.
Well, if we're good with this, I'm going to give Dennis Prager a heads up.
All right, folks, I'm fine with this direction, and if I made this process drag on unnecessarily, I'm deeply apologetic.
No, that's all right.
Damn, that feels good. You know, Mark, you're right to keep this under control before I start calling up my ex-wives. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.